Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. As we are entering the eclipse season, starting with the first solar eclipse of this year on 30th of April with the Taurus new moon at 10 degree 28 minutes of Taurus, the road to eclipse season would be colored by the full moon which is happening today at 26 degree 46 minutes of Libra. It will influence us over the course of next 2 weeks, and we are going to talk about it in detail today along with the key transits over the course of next 2 weeks. The two Venus ruled events, the two lunar events, first the full moon which is happening in Libra and second the solar eclipse which is happening in Taurus, it would of course bring matters related to finances to focus as well as matters related to heart. Finances would be a key focus in May, especially for global events. We have talked about that because there's going to be a Scorpio eclipse, which is a full moon total lunar eclipse happening in the middle of May, which got activated in Feb or March itself. And I spoke about it at that time that this will bring a financial event to focus, and that could be related to debt, it could be related to financial nexus coming to focus. There will be a revelation which will come to focus mid of May, which will make May key for finances. More importantly, on a personal basis, the two Venus ruled lunar events which we are going to experience in the coming weeks, it would bring our choices to focus. As Venus is yes about beauty, finances, money, vanity, love, fashion, but more than anything, it's about choice. Choices we make which pave the way forward for our life. In Taurus, those choices would change the path of our life for long term, especially financially for us. In Libra, those choices which will be compelling to make in the now and here over the course of next 2 weeks, they would change the course of our partnerships and commitments. Choices which would be compelling because there is so much conviction behind them. We are going to talk about those choices today. My name is Charu. I'm your host on this journey. Let's begin. Libra full moon, which will influence us over the next 2 weeks, is normally a period of balancing act, especially in our partnerships and our relationships. There is something that requires us to be balanced in our actions and opinions in partnerships and relationships, which happens during Libra full moon influence. But this year, because Pluto is making a square to this full moon, there's an element of truth and power that needs to be embedded, which means that we cannot be a pushover, so as to speak, or live a fake relationship or a fake commitment to some extent. So there's an element of very directional change that happens in the way we handle or live our partnerships as a result of this Pluto square that is happening to Libra. And we'll see that in global events in terms of alliances and diplomacy as well. The diplomacy is less fake but more truth coming to surface amongst who is whose partner, so as to speak, rather than just making it look like we are everybody's partner or everybody's friends. There are clear sides in my view which are taken because Libra full moon is colored by Pluto's truth. This balanced full moon, which is normally balanced, is very lopsided due to that. It's very directional in the calls that it's going to take when it comes to partnerships, alliances, and commitments and contracts that we have in place. It would urge us to be very truthful in our partnerships and relationships, and it would urge us to not live a lie when it comes to those commitments. It would be so directional that we would experience ourselves taking undeniable cardinal directional shifts over the course of next 2 weeks from 17th of April to 30th of April. It could also bring some sudden information to focus, which would bring more clarity. And this lopsided clarity would make it compelling further to close on or totally end a commitment. This is happening as we would have Mercury and Uranus together at around 13 or 14 degree of Taurus, right starting from 18th itself. And it would extend all the way till 24th of April because Mercury will be meeting North Node around 23rd or 24th of April as well, which will also bring some fated communication in place. And this in Taurus, of course, means that globally we would see financial volatility and financial information coming to surface, or financial communication coming to surface, which can be very surprising and sudden and fated in nature, which would shift the way money is handled or markets are looked at, or the future economy would grow or not going forward. This will influence the eclipse, which is a new moon eclipse, which means it's a new start financially and in earth resources, or the way we handle environment, the way we handle money, the way we handle resources in general globally. The shift in that, or a new chapter in that, in my view, would be colored by these current communications that will come over the course of next 1 week, especially around 18th and 24th of April. This is especially true for you personally if you have planets around 14 degree of fixed sign, which is Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. These are the signs who are especially influenced if you have planets or points around 14 degree of these signs, which is the early, maybe the first week of the month born essentially. This is going to influence all of us because this will have, in my view, a global impact. This would also bring out some information to surface that we need to see to decide on a commitment. We have just lived 2 weeks of Aries initiation, which was a Chiron journey. Aries new moon was colored with Chiron conjunction. It was a Chiron initiation, and ours is, in my view, the only generation who has experienced 2 such initiations. One was in March 2020 and the other is right now. As I have mentioned this before in my previous video as well, it comes with a collective wound which pushes us towards our true identity, which might be unique and not widely accepted. This initiation of healing your own initiative to move forward on your unique journey was the focus of the last 2 weeks before you can go ahead and handle partnerships or help the rest of the world. The pioneer within us needed to heal for ourselves before we could go out and fight for anything else or anyone else. Fight for yourself, despite the odds, was the key message of that Chiron new moon. The Chiron and Aries generation, as I mentioned before, are pushed to dust their wounds and move forward quickly to the next fight. Don't let how tough it is to break through bog you down or give up the fight, because the first one, the people who experience the once in lifetime events, first ones always pave the way. And they always find unforeseen hindrances which no one else has experienced. It brought over wounds of the past to focus, possibly for each one of us, mostly to own those wounds and still fight for yourself. Fight for yourself despite the wounds, past failures to launch, and the opinions of others. Now it's followed by this Libra full moon, which is normally supposed to bring focus to the significant others, the partnerships, the relationships, the spouse, the significant others, or the contract or the close relationship of our life. But the Pluto T-square to this full moon will bring a shift or transformation in the nature of those partnerships and relationship because of a lopsided conviction that you have in a choice that is coming through a clarity that comes over the coming week because of Uranus hitting up Mercury, which will bring some sudden insights, messaging, a bout of ego or bout of self-confidence to pursue a certain choice. And this news, which can be financial in nature, could be related to resources, could be related to values that we hold, would be a key focus of global events as well from 18th to 24th of April. And it will be very fated in nature. We would need to hear those information, that news, before we get to the eclipse initiation after 30th of April. You cannot, though, have a new beginning which is valuable in nature without a directional, irrevocable ending, which this Libra full moon can bring over the course of next 2 weeks, especially in the nature of our contracts, partnerships and relationships, or the way we handle them. Diplomacy globally would go through a transformation at this time. A choice is made. A choice is made and it's fairly irrevocable. We would see this evidently in global events in the coming week itself, starting from Monday with the Mercury-Uranus conjunction. This full moon, it falls on the sun of Kamala Harris. It would affect or shift her career title in my view, and it is an eclipse for Germany, a south node eclipse for Germany, which normally brings a release or an ending, leading to the July Uranus North Node conjunction, which is happening on Mars of Germany, which I've been talking about in my last meetings, in my last readings as well, which is very, very significant event in July linked to Germany in my view, which will happen because of Uranus North Node conjunction with Mars of Germany, which can indicate a financial or a physical war or weapons linked sudden shift beyond what we have already seen. Coming back to our personal situation, the polarized parts of us, because Pluto will polarize us. We would so badly want something or have a conviction in a choice we are making, but because of a seemingly limited or trying to be nice to others or trying to be balanced about a relationship or an existing contract, we would possibly not be able to pursue it in full earnestness, and we would find that the polarized parts of us, the eagle and the dove within us, would need to merge. The spiritual will to do right by our destiny and the love that we have for others, it needs to merge. A choice is fervently pursued by merging two opposing parts of yourself. Considering it's in Libra, chances are you're not going to pursue this choice alone. We are at least urged to not pursue this journey alone. So there will be alliances, but they will be alliances which are based on truth. You want to be right or you want to be happy? That question will emerge in our partnerships. That question will emerge in these let's walk together towards a fervent goal situations. A choice is made in our partnership, a commitment at this degree of adeptness, at which the eagle and the dove, they merge. Sheer will of spirit and love principles, they merge. A choice is made driven by a Venusian desire of beauty, of love, of creativity, a wish to display your talents, a wish to step into an imaginative, creative role. A choice is made to step out of the shadows. It's bold, it's raw, it's unpretentious, yet it's not hidden or dark. The light side of us and the dark side of us merge. There is depth in creative self-expression. There's conviction in matters of heart, which would normally be shallow or purely intellectual in nature. There is self-belief in ability to transform a tough situation. Pain becomes beauty and art. Fear gives way to love. It has to. It becomes a necessity. we are pushed to it. We would need to choose what motivates us. Is it fear or is it love? Based on that, a choice is made. Saturn is also at the apex of a fixed square with the nodes since the start of April. And that indicates that we collectively are being forced or pushed to do the right thing by others. Do what's right for the long term. Whatever long term means in this short life, do what can be tangibly defined as my contribution to the collective, my contribution to our prosperity, my legacy, my spiritual as well as my tangible financial growth that I'm leaving behind for the next generation to look at. Paying my dues, my karmic duties to someone or a set of people we feel we karmically owe something to. With Saturn in this aspect, for a couple of weeks now, we seem to be paying some sort of debt of the past as an investment in our future, like cleaning environmental mistakes of the past to make investment into the next generation's future. Similarly, you can see in your personal situation where you might be seemingly be in a doghouse paying debt of the past. Seemingly or truthfully, what you feel is the debt of the past, mistakes or shortcomings to amend as an investment in the future for yourself or your future generation. Either ways, air in the current moment feels compressed between past debt and future investment. And with this aspect, world seemingly is not living the present. It's standing still. This compression or oppression or the restraint, in my view, will implode once Pluto moves into Aquarius in Q2 of next year. We would especially see that in China. China has an ascendant in Aquarius and it has its moon, which represents its people, at early degree of Aquarius, and Pluto would be transiting, which is a very rare transit. It normally comes with a people revolution. I've been saying that for a while now. This would come with a people revolution. This is also the time that I've talked about linked to, in my view, changes in Taiwan. This compression or oppression or restraint, it will implode. Whether it is the oppression of self-expression, innovation, or the oppression in general of the air, the communication between people. But this oppression stands, even though I'm going to be very controversial about it, but this oppression, the standing still, is important for the eclipses ahead of us. It's part of the fate. It's the misstep. It is needed. Most of the tough aspects, they are needed for some reason. They need to be experienced before all the changes, especially the financial changes, the upcoming eclipses are going to bring. In your personal situation as well, this standing still, this delay, it has a place, we just don't know it. We would hear more about oppression, constraint, around 24th of April in name of rules and constraints. Especially we would feel ourselves, our self-worth or ego or finances being diminished by someone, or by need to do right by others, or by doing what's required to do the right thing for long term, or to do right by others, or to do right by a boss or a rule or an administrative constraint. We'll feel under the thumb around 24th of April, especially the fixed signs around 24 degree. So Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius and Leo, especially around 24 degree, would experience this very strongly, which is around 14th or 15th of the month born, for if you are a son of these signs. This is a test. This is a delay. This is a constraint, which we just don't know it, but is helpful. It is supporting this full moon. Saturn is supporting this full moon. Saturn is supporting this shift. The restraint that you're feeling in not blowing apart a relationship or just blowing on a partner or a commitment, that delay, that in shift is needed. Because there is more information that is yet to come, that we need to make that choice. It's the only thing. Saturn is the only thing right now separating us from the external chaos to be able to take the tough choice we are about to make. Sometimes lack of progress has a purpose. With Saturn, it always does. There are long-term implications, financially especially, which we may not have been considering, and 24th of April will bring that to focus. Pluto in Capricorn is, on the other hand, on another train. It's making a cardinal T-square with this full moon. It wants us to stand strong in our choice. It is the strongest aspect of this full moon, more so as Pluto now is standing still, about to go retrograde end of this month. It's forming a cardinal T-square, which is all about a directional call. It wants us to take a directional call, going towards something, especially career or life path related, which is transformative, powerful in nature, with laser focus and egoic conviction in the life path, career, rule choice we have chosen for ourselves. It's jarring and ego conflicts will come up, especially for cardinal signs around 28 degree, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer around 28 degree, even 2 or 3 degrees before and after that, would experience this as ego conflicts in their relationships, especially with bosses, with career partners. This would come up, or even with the title holders in their family, whosoever is the dominant person in their family or in their relationship. It's jarring, and ego conflicts will come up if we are not careful, as they have been coming in Aries season. We experienced this when Pluto hit Mercury in Aries last on 10th. There was an ego conflict in my view, which might have already happened around 10th. So you know what I'm talking about, especially if you're a cardinal sign. In name of ego being invested in a choice, there will already have been a conflict that came up. We have talked of it, discussed it around 10th of April. You thought you were justifying another person about your choice, but you were convincing yourself and preparing yourself because no one else was blocking anything. This was your own inner conviction that needed more convincing, and you were just using the other person to become more convinced about your own choice. Pluto stresses out a weak argument, which we are having with ourselves. Pluto stress tests a weak argument which we are having with ourselves. It physically bursts pipes and exposes plumbing issues and raises gunk from the bottom up to surface for us to see and not ignore. We would experience more of that from Monday as more hidden information. And today, as I'm recording this Saturday, Sunday, the aspect is already live with Sun. So cardinal signs would already be experienced that as more hidden information comes to surface in the coming week, you would experience this more. It also exposes where, in name of anarchy and need for freedom, we are actually compromising real progress. It would expose where, in name of anarchy and need for freedom, we are just compromising real progress, tangible progress in our career, in our life path, in our title, personal or professional. Truth at all cost comes out with this. This is financial truth for United States. This full moon falls on the sun of Kamala Harris, making it significant for her job title, and next lunar eclipse in Scorpio mid-May would be on the sun of Biden. So Vice President's full moon being aspected by this Vice President's sun being aspected by this full moon, and the next one being aspected for the president. It has huge implication for the administration of United States. This was, as I said, the Scorpio mid-May lunar eclipse was already activated in Feb and March. As I mentioned at that time, it would come with some losses of financial nature and revelation of financial nexus, the hidden veins below the surface which connect countries and people financially will come to surface. Those were, I believe, my exact words that I wrote about that eclipse. So as Pluto would stand still, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, it would be turning retrograde on the natal Pluto of United States in second house of money, resources, values, some truth and transformation regarding money and money nexus and resources of the country would come to focus. And the values of the people and the people heading them would come into focus. Who says there are no winners in a war? I don't want this reading to get polarized by that, but something to think about. There are certain winners in a war, and that would come into focus. A full moon comes with endings, results, revelations, and truth. I will leave that at it. It's a lunar eclipse, as I said, for Germany with South Node, which is loss or release, leading to the July-August Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction we have spoken of on Mars of Germany. It's important to consider the information that will be coming to focus next week from Germany in the coming week, in the coming days from Germany. That will be very important to look out for, to give an indication of what those surprising events in July could be from the country. So here we are in the current moment with our air compressed, world seemingly standing still in denial against the backdrop of all the fated Uranian chaos of sudden events which are happening or about to happen. Having a conviction in our one choice, which we would very soon go back and forth on, because the retrograde fun is about to begin from 29th of April. Pluto doesn't like our choices to be anything but for ourselves. But our human ego makes us involve other people in our choices. How would it look to my close ones? How would I be admired if I had this title? Would I be looked down as? What does my partner, my mother, my neighbor think about the career choice I'm about to make? Pluto just cannot stand all of it. Repulsion to fake, though, becomes more actively evident in the retrograde journey of Pluto, which will start after 29th of April. So when Pluto is moving forward as it is right now, we feel we have something to show and prove. So this choice that we are making, it would be colored by ego. It would be colored by a concern of how it looks. It's just the nature of human choices we make. Do I look weak at world scale by letting one of my major warships get sunk by a seemingly small country, and his mind and his own mind, an insignificant country for him, for example, for somebody, I don't know, anybody whose major warship was sunk recently? A lopsided extreme choice is made through a sudden bout of ego and a sudden news or information that comes with it, come Monday or next week, which comes out of the blue, is to justify how it looks. It could be a financial news that comes on a world scale as a way to satisfy ego and as a way to undo how it looks. So our choice right now, what I'm trying to say for our personal situation, would be colored, is colored, whether we see it or not right now, it is colored by how it looks. We tend to derive value from our external titles more than our individual truth. That's just human. So am I making a wrong choice in this moment? I don't think so, unless you are one of those very few living under the rock who doesn't have a single planet or point in cardinal signs. You have at one or other point since 2008 experienced a Pluto transit, Pluto in Capricorn transit, up close and personal, where you were introduced to your personal truth and personal power through a dramatic loss leading to psychological transformation. It's the job of Pluto in Capricorn, make us our own boss, making us own our own title in life, irrespective of who we bow to in name of boss externally, but owning your own title in life. Own your time on this planet Earth while you're here and making it count. That's the purpose of Pluto in Capricorn, along with the global transformation in administration and rules and big corporations. So no, I think we know what we are about. And the choice is not what may be wrong, but we continue to carry a fake external reality with us, like what values we carry, how we want to be looked at. Some amount of fake external persona is carried out, despite making a true conscious inner call. Pluto retrograde, which happens on 29th of April, which is an annual event, it brings an event which will bring an abrupt separation from a part of you and me that is a fake persona that we insist on continuing to live because as humans we care about what others think. So over the course of next 2 weeks, you'll find yourself giving that up in some way. There's always a disintegration that comes, which is dramatic in nature as Pluto turns retrograde, especially for cardinal signs around 28 degree. You would see that through a truth reveal and a sudden news over the course of next 2 weeks. In global events terms, that usually has to do with governments, administrations, politicians, CEOs, presidents, and the rules we collectively live by, where we can see a disintegration due to a news or revelation of truth or a financial event which brings it up. In personal situation, this could be a conflict in relationship, a bout of ego, or the need to see your own value in greater terms, which pushes you towards a plutonic death of an archaic part of you. But egos will run high here. We feel we are so right, and this lopsided choice in which we have so much conviction, we just do not right now have the psychological or physiological tool to be able to live that choice. So the choice may not be wrong, but you and I do not have the right psychological tools as well as physical tools to be able to live that choice. So know that the retrograde fun is about to begin. You would give plutonic death to a part of you which you may not have yet been ready to live without. So you and I will feel like a baby being thrown out of bath water, but it's the essential step. Even when we are not ready, Pluto does that. It's the essential step because sometimes we do not learn to swim without drowning a bit. So if you accept that during the retrograde cycle, which will extend till October, starting from 29th of April, though we would find a solution by July in my view, but if you accept that during the retrograde cycle, you would somehow find the right stroke, that initially you would not know how to breathe and you would feel out of breath. If you can have that balanced perspective about your lopsided choice that you seem to have so much conviction in, and you can accept the faith infusion you would possibly get from the Venus-Neptune conjunction at 24 degree of Pisces on 27th and 28th of April, right before the Pluto retrograde, which will give you faith in the unknown. If you can convince yourself of your ability to walk for a bit, this fine line between being right and being happy in your partnerships, if you could have this slightly more balanced perspective of your lopsided choice, that you would find the resources you need psychologically and physically by July. Maybe, just maybe, you would jump into the pool you do not know how to swim with a bit more conviction and give it more of your lopsided attention and efforts. Libra full moon, though, always comes with a balancing act. We cannot deny that. Balancing the part of us that fiercely is independent and the one that craves for peace and love. The adeptness degree, this full moon is happening at the degree of adeptness. It requires us to get over ourselves and make the two opposite ends of ourselves meet, uniting the opposites within us, because that is going to feel very personal. That constantly debating two ways of life, it needs to be united in a single key and sung harmoniously. Once you would find this harmony of your two ends within you, you would see the external world also present to you a solution of combining these two opposites, like a partnership or a career choice that promotes both freedom and independence you seek, as well as the balance and fairness in commitments you seek. These are two opposite ends which need to merge. But they need to merge within us before they can merge in the choices that are presented to you. But you and me would have to get over ourselves. This extreme display of belief and lopsided choices. If I don't have it, I don't need any relationships. If I don't get this life path, all my relationships can go to hell. Those kind of extreme display of belief and lopsided choices. My way of life is right, and one way of life being correct, making the other wrong, driven by the need to establish a fake ego concept to everyone else while we live truthfully in disbelief of our own life choices, would have to be given up. Libras are acting out of character, you say. It's true, they have. They've been hit by Uranus in the 8th house, making them come out with the colors and conviction and ego or pride or jealousy they didn't know they had. They're facing the emotions they didn't know they hold. Some say it's not out of character, but maybe first time in life they are being real. It's very person specific. When Uranus transits your 8th house, you have a Kundalini release. It's not very complicated. It's a part of you, a power within you, which is released. But you cannot generalize that. It's very unique to one person how they do that. So the Libra side of you and me, because Libra sits in all our charts, the Libra side of you is facing what it has never faced before. Its balancing act is being challenged by its will to be true to oneself as it faces its once in lifetime release from bondage and fake or surface in one way or the other. So anarchy within ourselves right now cannot be underestimated here. That's why it's so personal. You just came out of a Chiron Aries moon, which reignited the need to heal your identity, your I am. The wound of our identity being unique and not so well accepted is still very raw and open. And now we are being asked to perform a balancing act in an unfair relationship or contract where something within us is screaming to be true to ourselves. It's not an easy ride. It's a thin line to be walked. Pluto square bursts pipes, psychologically and physically. Hello, plumbing issues. Anybody else going through that? I am. Gunk comes up in this beautiful, sophisticated, normally neutral, Libra, clean full moon. And we have to somehow find a way to be adept and make a tough choice. But if you ride it out, if you walk this thin line, with the confidence that you would find the resources to do this effortlessly by July, you would have more conviction in your choice. And don't forget, this is a Venusian full moon. It's still about beauty. It's still about love. It's still about creativity. It's still about self-expression. It's still about intellectual thought process. So don't forget the Venusian R&R that this full moon demands. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a great 2 weeks ahead. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you.